How's it going, everyone? Ben Yurcisin here with the Generative AI Network, and I'm here with Sequoia, CEO and co-founder of Lexore Spark. How's it going today, Sequoia?
I am going, I am doing really well. I'm going to, but I am good. How are you? How are things?
I'm good. We're closing out the year 2025, just trying to figure out how to do it better and stronger in 2026, right? So just as everyone's winding down for the holidays, as an entrepreneur, a lot of activities still going on, people still making things happen. So I know people like you aren't really winding down, you're kind of gearing up for the new year, right?
Not at all. I feel like it's so funny because I've been on social media and everybody's complaining on TikTok like nobody is like winding down. They're like,
Yeah,
usually
that's the
I'm in
whole
my
thing.
ugly sweaters and doing my Christmas parties, but they're like, no, we have a meeting. It's like,
I'll tell you what, I agree that no one is winding down except for potential customers. They're all
there you
winding
go.
down.
They're
They're the
winding down.
only
They're like,
they're the
no, we're
only ones
good.
who are taking the holiday, but everyone else, the team, the building. So, hey, listen, that's part of the entrepreneurial journey. So, you've done a lot of
Exactly.
wonderful things as an entrepreneur. You've done fundraising, you pivoted in very important parts that I want to talk a lot about. But to start, why don't you just give a little bit of background about yourself and what you're building with Lexor Spark, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah, so I actually started my career in the entertainment industry as a commercial and music video director. So I did that for over a decade. So I worked with some of the largest brands, artists, Justin Bieber, um, a bunch of people. And from there, I went on and left entertainment when Spotify basically disrupted the industry. And so you can imagine how long ago that was. But but
In a
yeah,
minute.
so exactly. Like record labels were panicked and all the things. And so even though being a creative has always been my passion, I like ate, slept, and breathed like creativity, like directing. When I was 8 years old, I had like the little camera running around, giving my
I
friends little
love
cue
it.
cards, like, "Hey guys, we're doing a film today." And
You're in my film.
so
They're like, oh, I didn't know I signed up for this, but like, oh, you all signed up when you
you are
became my friend.
casted. Exactly. And so from there, I actually left LA, moved to Silicon Valley. Didn't know I'm from the Bay Area, which is interesting. So I'm from the East Bay though. So all of
Nice.
tech was happening. It's infiltrated into the East Bay now, but all of tech was happening in the peninsula. So I actually moved to San Mateo and I was a part of this program called Draper University. And then through Draper, which I had no idea, I had no context of venture capital. I didn't know anything about like the ecosystem, anything. And what I found out, Draper was the person that I was supposed to learn from because his great grandfather started venture capital in Silicon Valley.
Oh
So
wow. You're like, oh, that's the one. You're like, let me latch
that's the
on to
one.
this.
If you're gonna learn from anybody, you gotta learn from that one, right? And
That's it.
so yeah, so I went through his program, Draper University, had a app and ended up pitching it during our demo day. And then he was our first investor. And so
Oh,
from
amazing.
there, yeah, it was crazy. Built out the company, stayed around for about 3 years, and then ultimately left that company and then went back to media. So you'll see there's like a recurring theme in my life is I always go back to being a creative. Um,
Business creative. You're like
yeah, it's like
left
I
brain, right brain,
can't.
left brain, right brain.
Exactly. I try, but I always end up back. And so I went back to media, worked at a publication in New York, stayed at that publication for about 2 years. And then I built another company while I was there. And then ultimately, there was a venture capital firm in LA that wanted what I had built, an iteration of it. We scrapped everything and then rebuilt it in house for them. And then once I was done with that, I left and then came to Atlanta, which is this is my actual second time living here.
Nice.
But while I was here, I was VP of Innovation and Content Strategy at Truist, surely because they were like, we don't know what to do with you. You have like all of these different skill sets. Like, do we put her in the venture arm of the banks or is it corporate venture? Do we put her in content, like innovation
Give
strat?
her a
Like, what do we
creative
do?
leadership role.
Yeah, like, we don't know what to do with her. So I ended up doing both, which is interesting. And so from there, they ended up doing a massive layoff, which again, like always back to an entrepreneur. So that was fine for me. I was like, all right, what do I want to create next? Right. And so Lexore Spark did not start as Lexore Spark by any means. It started again in the creative space because I'm a creative. So you build what you
Yep.
know. And so I went and created a platform, it was a marketplace for videographers, is essentially how it started. And that was super interesting to me because I knew a bunch of people needed content. They wanted to book these videographers. But when my co founder and I discuss this. Actually was at Draper doing some mentorship when I thought about the idea. And you can't be in an entrepreneurship ecosystem without wanting to create something. I'm like, I want to build this
Yeah,
thing. So
exactly.
I'm there and I'm like, hey, no, like I'm doing all these workshops and working with their students. And I'm like, no one's shooting this. Like, I need this content. Like, why is there no platform that does this? And so ultimately, that's where the idea was birthed. And then when I talked to my co founder, who we actually met when I was at Draper, literally the first time.
Sounds like that was a great experience to kick off your entrepreneurial
Exactly.
journey. Yeah,
Exactly. And so being throughout that process, we said, okay, we are going to built this platform. And then when we decided what we were going to build, we were like, do we want a lifestyle business or do we actually want a venture backable business? And me being passionate, I wasn't even like in the weeds of what that actually meant until I started talking to my friends who are VCs. And I started getting feedback, and it was like, we don't love it. It's like,
yeah.
really?
You're like, oh, that hurts my feelings.
I'm like, we're making money. We're doing all the things. They're like, yeah, that was like marketplaces were cool. Like when Airbnb was coming into fruition in 20,
Like, this is over.
2017 or something. Right. And so I was like, oh, okay. Well, it is making money. So Leif and I had a really like strong conversation and really got clear. Do we want to go after venture or do we just want to build a lifestyle business? And ultimately, we were like, if we're gonna hit, we're gonna hit the home run. Like, we're not gonna like just do the lifestyle business. I have some different thoughts now because there's different iterations to do that.
Right.
But from there, we started to pivot. So we went back into the pocket of content, and we were like, AI is coming full speed ahead. Now, at this time, creatives are like,
Yeah,
like
there
absolutely not.
is a divide with on AI with the creatives and the business people. So that is interesting. You're kind of like in the middle of that, right?
Yes, creatives are like, absolutely not. AI is going to take our job, which is the craziest thing because creatives actually benefit the most from AI because they're creatives. So you're going to be
Yeah,
able to
so they
make
can
the
make the
thing,
best
yeah,
stuff.
like you're going to make the thing do what the thing is supposed to do.
Yeah,
Like, so
exactly.
you actually should be the most excited, but they were all, fear, right? So there was a lot of fear around it, and they were like, "Oh, we don't want to touch it." So our creatives, who were essentially our videographers, we were like, "Hey, we're doing this new thing," and they're like, "Yeah, we're good." And so we were like, "All right, well, how do we continue to build this out so that it actually is impactful?" Because there was a lot of companies that were going into the content space. So Google
Right.
had gone in with their tool VO2 at the time. There was Sora from
That
Microsoft.
hit the headlines, but then people have to stop talking about it. That was like the hype for
Yeah.
like 5 days. That was wild.
Yeah, exactly. Sora, and then there's Kling, there's like all types of LLMs. Now there's, workflows, but at the time there were no workflows. So we were the only ones who actually had a workflow. So you could literally, I
Right.
took everything I learned from being a director and I put it in the tool. So like you could script, you could prompt your storyboards, you could turn them into a commercial, like you could see everything, audio, everything was done in AI. And people still, it's funny because I thought I scraped everything off the internet, but we were on a call for Lexore the other day and they were like, well, what about that Dior video? And I was like, oh God,
Ah.
we don't do that anymore. But anyways, so the issue that we saw was as we were going through the process of having these workflows, they again, creator, this is for the creator because the business person is a business person. They're not creative. So
Right.
I have a 10-year background as a director. So what you see, the content you see that I create, you're not gonna be able to create. Like that is a God-given gift, right?
Right. Yeah,
So you're
exactly.
gonna look at my content and be like, wait, why doesn't mine look like yours? Because like this was, it's a
This
talent.
is what I do. Go
Exactly.
find your talent. I got mine.
Exact. But it became an issue because as a venture scalable business, you need to be able to create massive market adoption, right? And so
Right.
because we had these really creative workflows that the video content that I produce look great, then they produce it, it doesn't look great, whatever. So at the end of the day, we were like, all right, how do we just okay, first we need a idea that doesn't require massive talent, right? So there's
Right.
one.
Yep.
And then the other thing is creativity is subjective. It's highly subjective. So you could come to me and be like, "Well, it doesn't look great." And I'm like, "Well, I think it looks great." And there's no like there we can't debate that. It's like
Yeah, it's just
there's
there's no data behind that. It's just thought.
exactly. And so you could always be like, "Well, I want a refund." It's like, "Well, I can okay." Like
Yeah,
there's nothing I can
exactly.
literally nothing I can do about it. And so I was like, how do we, to your point, anchor in data? Because you cannot debate data. It's
Exactly.
undebatable. And so what we did was we said, okay, we know that these creatives, we know that these brands, because there was a lot of business owners or small medium business owners who come to us to do the content. We know that they need content, but that's not ultimately what they need. They actually need customers. So
Yeah, the
we said,
content's a vehicle to get the thing they actually want. Yeah, yeah.
exactly. So we said, okay, forget the content. Let's anchor in the customer. And how do we make sure that they own that customer relationship? Because in Silicon Valley, we are taught, I remember this verbatim from Tim, like, you need to own the customer. And like that one sentence sticks in my head today, right?
Right.
So, how do you own that customer? Well, you're going to have, like, when you're in competition, you're going to see this competitive landscape, and I can go anywhere, like especially if it's a consumer brand. Like I can go
Yeah.
get drinks from literally any brand. I can go get chips from any brand. Like it doesn't. So how do you bring that relationship closer so that it's not about like just acquiring the customer, but like keeping that
Keeping
customer
them. Yeah. The
retention?
stickiness.
Exactly. Exactly, the longevity of that customer. And so that's essentially what Lexor does now. We allow you to own that customer relationship where you can see when the last time they purchased what was, what they are interested in next, like when their birthday is, really special moments or events that are happening in their lives. And so you can activate on that data. So it's not just like, hey, here's this piece of content, but this content that I'm sending you is directly related to you. So it's like, we just saw that your birthday passed. Here's 100 points so you can get free shipping or whatever, right? Or we saw that, you purchased 3 months ago. Is there an issue? Can we fix something for you? And that's all through an AI agent that is just pushed out that sounds superhuman so that you feel like you have a very deep personal relationship, and we're able to do that at scale. So that's what it
Amazing.
is now. Yeah, it's so
You literally
different, but
you took own the customer, you took his advice and built a business about it.
basically,
You should go back to him and let him know, hey, your advice was so good. I literally built a business around it.
basically, yeah.
That's
So we've
fantastic.
spoken to their team since, like they knew like the consumer brands pivot, but they didn't understand why, because they're like, Sequoia, you're so deeply in as a technologist, like you've been in tech for like years, like why are you addressing consumer brands now?
Right.
But like it took a pathway to understand. It's like content for content's sake is meaningless. Like
Yeah, exactly. It's about the
especially,
so you
go
pivoted
ahead.
from like the vehicle to the end game, like to the destination,
Yeah,
essentially,
exactly.
which is essentially where people really want to go. And it's how did so I guess I want to pivoting is such an important thing in entrepreneurship, and it's such a balance. I was talking to someone about this yesterday. It's like, at what point do you say, no, I'm confident in my idea, I'm sticking to this no matter what anyone says, or you say, you know what, I got to listen to the market. So, was there any defining moment, or where you like it was very clear to you, you're like, we need to make this shift to the kind of the customer relationship rather than the vehicle of the content creation? How did you know it was time to make that move?
Yeah, so you get product velocity. So in the beginning, you're kind of testing its experiments, right? So you're testing and you're validating and you're seeing, okay, who's responding to this? How are they responding? If you talk to enough customers, you start to hear the same feedback. It's like,
Right.
oh, well, we need this, or we want this particular feature, or do you guys have this? Or, well, we don't plan on doing that. And like you start to kind of hear it over and over in repetition. And so once we started to hear feedback from our customers, because what people don't understand about entrepreneurship is like, it is nothing to do with you. Like,
Yeah,
it
it's
is
only the
the
market. It's only the market. And I've
exactly. It
seen so
is
many people who build these cool things and they talk about their cool features and this and that. And then they're like, a year later, they're like, why do we have no customers? It's like, because you made it about you and your product and not what the people are saying.
Exactly. It is the most selfless thing that you can possibly do. If you want to serve, be an entrepreneur because
Yep.
your only job is to make sure that that customer is happy. Like that is your only job, right? And so that is what we learned. It wasn't about us. It wasn't about like what I wanted to do. It was about the feedback that we consistently got from our customers. And because we kept getting the same feedback, you would hear it over and over again, we were like, all right, let's go ahead and try to focus our energy on what they're saying and then make sure that we're building around what their requests are. And
Right.
essentially, that's how we got to where we are now.
Very cool. All right. So it's simply listening and actively
Yes.
listening and doing something with
Yep.
that. I love it. Cool. So that's awesome. And besides that, you've done another awesome thing, which is this really innovative approach to fundraising. And I remember when you're doing your friends and family round, it was this huge hype you created. I really was inspired by it. Like every dollar that came in, you had a post about it. Like we got a new one. We got
Yes.
it was another one, another one. So it was so cool how you did it, and I think you had a really fantastic marketing campaign around your fundraise. So if you could share a little bit about like what inspired that and how that all worked, that'd be great because I think a lot of other entrepreneurs want to know how to raise money effectively.
Yeah, so it was interesting because at first we are like, all right, we'll bootstrap this. So when I got laid off at Truist, I had a good amount of money. Like if you are ever gonna go to corporate as an entrepreneur, go to a bank. Like
At
the
least
layoff is
accumulate
like,
as much as
what?
possible. Yeah.
It's like, wow, okay. So
All right, I guess I can be an entrepreneur for a while after this.
so yeah, so but I mean, we needed to actually build the business that made sense, right? And so you don't understand that that takes time to actually like get that feedback and get the product into the market that people actually want. And so because it was taking a lot of time, we were burning through runway, right? We had
Yep,
a higher burn rate because not the business because we needed to live. Bills
of
are still
course.
due. And
Yep,
so with that, we were like, all right, do we go back? Because we had, again, I have a lot of friends in venture, like a lot. I have good relationships. Like I was at a venture capital firm, like as a venture partner. And
yep.
so I understand both sides of the equation. And so as we were having the conversations, I was getting a lot of rejection, right? And I'm like, okay, well, we're not a venture backable business because uh, thing that people don't talk about is the way you raised in 2013 is not the way you raised today. Like it was the barrier to entry was lower. So today,
Right.
because of AI, there's a very high expectation of your traction. So they want you to have your product to the market. They want you to have customers. They want those customers have validated the product. There's like a lot of expectation.
Right. You're like, I'm still a
Yeah,
startup here. Give me, I
exactly. It's
need the money to do those things.
exactly. And in 2013, when we raised the first time, or what I don't even know, was it not 20? I don't remember dates. Maybe
Yeah.
14. But whenever we raised the first time, essentially that wasn't the case. It was like I had a prototype and maybe some customer interest. Now we were able to generate revenue after that, but we also had a check going into that. And so essentially learning that very quickly and that the market just wasn't receptive of our initial idea, I needed to make money. Like I was like, and I don't want to. I come from the Silicon Valley school of thought that you don't need to, you can't have two, three jobs. Like as you're building the company, you need to be 100% focused on the company. And
Right.
so I was like, all right, well, how do you, that doesn't make sense. Like,
Yeah. How are
like,
we gonna do this? It doesn't make, yeah. I need to
how am
live.
I, how am I paying the bills? Like I'm a little confused here. And so in order to do that, I said, okay, we're gonna not just raise, we'll put money toward the product, but we have to like sustain ourselves from a salary standpoint in order to be able to continue to build the business. And so when we went again talking to venture, they're like, oh, you're just not ready. It's like not interesting to us in terms of where you are in traction. And so my friend, a friend of mine, Isaac Hayes, he had raised a kind of equity crowdfunding round, right? And I saw that, and the way that he was doing it is he would post like the amounts that he had raised. And so he was
Right.
kind of creating the momentum from posting the amounts that he had raised. And I did a lot of research. I talked to all the equity crowdfunding platforms. I talked to WeFunder. I talked to Republic because Draper was a part of Republic. So I thought that could be a good one. I talked to Start Engine, and really, WeFunder was just the easiest to set up. Like
Right.
the other ones had all
Just
these
about frictionless, you know?
exactly. They had all these other criterias and things that you and like we our Republic said like you had to go through traditional diligence to do Republic, and they were like, yeah, you guys are good, but still like they had this massive fee up front that we just could not pay, and it's like I yeah. So we went to WeFunder and we looked at the terms, and I was like, wait, because again, I've been on the venture side, like I've done term sheets, like I've been
Yeah,
an
yeah.
investor, and so I was like, this is the same thing. It's just a umbrella of a platform over it. So the term
Right.
sheets were the same. It was like it was a save. I could do a valuation cap. I could do a discount. I could do all the terms that I would have been doing if there was no WeFunder. The
Exactly.
only addition to it was that you could actually see the traction, and people follow people. So they could see like the fundraise. They could see, oh, she just hit 20K. She just hit 40K. And so it was actually creating the momentum because we had thought about doing an angel round before that on our own, but people wouldn't do it because they were like, they didn't want to be the first check in. Like nobody
Everyone
wants to be
wants
the
to know
first.
who else is involved. They want to. It's a whole
Exactly.
FOMO thing in the investor world. Of all.
Exactly. So when I saw that, I was like, okay, like I know how to set my terms. Like I know exactly what to do. I've done this before as an investor. Like this makes total sense to me. And they went and they did our financial, or they audited our financials. I had them done by another founder who has a company in the accounting space, which was beautiful. And once they did that, we were good to go. And in a month, we had raised, I think, 100K. And so
It's
the way,
incredible.
yeah. So, but hold on. So here was the rationale that got us there. So I have another friend who is in the regular lifestyle entrepreneurship space, but he's generated like $10 million. So I know, like, he shares his tactics online as to how he does these things. And he's like, the most important day to launch a business or to launch something that you want to generate money on or revenue on is your birthday, because that is when you
Oh,
have the most
that's
attention. And I was like, oh,
that
that's
is so
brilliant.
genius. Oh my God, that's what I never heard that before, but that makes sense. That's why
Yeah,
everyone on Facebook is like, "Oh, my birthday, I'm doing this fundraiser for the."
exactly. I was
Oh, that's a
like,
good one.
that's
Simple
brilliant.
and great.
Exactly. So I was like, all right, you know what? My birthday is up. It's like we are launching this
You're
campaign.
like, it turns out today's my birthday, actually.
Right. Exactly. I'm like, we are launching this campaign. I know that LinkedIn is gonna, because they do the birthday alerts now too. I know it's gonna
Yeah.
alert everybody and tell everybody it's my birthday. I know that I'm gonna get the push, and so I use LinkedIn because I know also that the people on LinkedIn are more serious and more interested in investing, and they just like I have a higher appetite for risk. And
Yep.
so once that push happened, I put out a post and I was like, hey guys, it's my birthday. The only thing that I want is for you guys to invest in my company. And so that's how we started. And that
Nice.
day we made 10, or we raised $10,000 in that one day. So
And then you have the traction so that every other investor that goes through, they see it's already the party
yep,
started. Wow.
exactly. I
That's
was like,
such a hack. That is such a hack. That is a gem. Anyone who watches this, that is like the biggest takeaway I've ever heard. That's so
yeah.
solid for fundraising. Do it on your birthday. And if you got a team, whoever's birthday is coming up, you know?
Yeah, it's your birthday. Exactly. So yeah, we were able to get that first 10K in that first day. And then
Wow.
slowly but surely, so I optimized my LinkedIn for the fundraise. So what I did was I had a VA come on board because I was like, I can't, my mental just can't do all the admin stuff. Like, so I pulled in a VA and I was like, hey, every single day, reach out. Hey, we just hit this milestone. We just hit this milestone. So there were things in the background that were happening, but then on my front facing, like for my content, I would also say it like, hey guys, thank you so much. We just got to this milestone. And then I also had these little cards that I created that said, like, I am an investor. So then
So
everybody who
they can share it.
exactly. So then everybody who invested got my little card, and then they shared it on theirs, and then I got access to their, people, followers or whatever. And so yeah, that's how we got to 100K in a month.
That is such an awesome story. I'm so happy you shared that here because I think it's going to help so many people. The birthday thing, I've never heard that before, but it seems so obvious because that is when you get so much attention, LinkedIn, everywhere.
Yep.
So, all right, that's great. I appreciate you sharing. I know we're
Yeah.
coming up on time here, but two quick things I want to wrap with. One is you got to give a shout out to that thing above your head over there on the left. the women in AI,
Wait, that way.
the women. You're like, what? I know it's reverses, but yeah, no, that's great. That's in frame because I actually wanted to shout that out. For those who don't know, Sequoia was a winner of our first Women in AI Global Innovation Awards. So, tell us a little bit about that experience.
Yeah, that was so good. So I got nominated and ended up going to New York, and it was such a beautiful experience meeting yourself, Frank, and all the people who are involved. We had it on the Mets field, which was just
Yes.
like chef's kiss, and it was just a beautiful day. Yeah, and that I think we were just transitioning into AI fully as a business at that point. I had been dabbling in AI myself, but as a business, we were like full fledged ahead. And so to be awarded for that was just a beautiful
Yeah,
thing.
and you deserve it. This is a testament to you and what you built because we've had over 55 applicants from around the world and a lot of people voting on that. But it narrowed down and you were one of the winners. So we appreciate you and you were awesome. And this is why we wanted to circle back and see what you've done since then. And it's great to see the progress.
Thank
So
you.
to close out, we're going into 2026. A lot of people are building, a lot of new entrepreneurs with this whole wave of AI, figuring out how to build business and where to start. So, a question I want to ask is a mix of the AI tech and the people, right? So, for
Yeah.
those who are looking to build a business, obviously AI can do so much and help you get something off the ground. What would you say, in your experience, is the right balance of AI and technology, and then actual people on your team to implement a lot of these things. So the balance of the AI and the people.
Yeah, so I think AI is good for the things that you do not want to do. Like I was saying, the
Yep.
admin stuff, that's like not interesting to me.
Yeah,
So
I don't want it.
good. So I think if you can optimize your team and make them focused on strategy and the things that they actually are really, really good at, and then utilize AI for speed. And so let's just say you have a social media marketer. Instead of her or him having to go and pull a post, pull the content, write the caption, blah, blah, blah. There's like so many steps in this. Let them be the innovator, like let them be the creative, and then have AI pull it all together, right? And so
Yep.
I think about AI from an optimization standpoint, and even from not just the internal team, but like externally to your customers. I think about AI as again infrastructure. So it should be supporting your systems in order for you to be able to scale up the business. But ultimately with your customers, we're entering the trust economy, right? And
Right.
so
Yep.
if with AI, no one trusts anything. They're like, is it AI?
Yeah,
Is it not AI? What's
exactly.
going on?
Yeah.
And so what happens with that is they don't purchase, they don't want to buy, they don't want to retain because essentially they don't believe you. They don't trust the brand. And so what I recommend is utilize AI for the infrastructure, but be in the customer's face. Have the conversation. Even with the way Lexore is positioned, AI is having that conversation, but ultimately you as the brand are doing the fulfillment. You are making
Right.
them feel the way that they need to feel in order to be, continue to buy and purchase, right? And so as much as you can build that relationship and stay deeply connected to the customer, and from the internal side, as much as you can alleviate that team so that they can utilize their human skills, their God-given skills, then you're going to be in a really good place as a business.
Incredible. No wonder you won the Women in AI awards. You know what you're talking about. This is great. I appreciate you sharing all this. So thanks for being here, Sequoia, and I'm excited to see what you build and continue to grow in 2026.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
Of course.